Before we get started, this was a request by one of the wonderful Subscribe Star members. He's a cool dude, but he clearly has some sexual fascination in a shirtless Jack Black wrestling Mexican dudes for money. Nacho Libre. Yeah.
Mira.
Nacho Libre is the 2006 family comedy starring Jack Black and directed by Jared Hess. The story follows a quiet man named Ignacio, Nacho to his friends, who makes a living cooking for the orphanage he grew up in rural Mexico. Despite clearly caring for the children and trying their best to make things work, the orphanage doesn't make much money. So Nacho hatches a scheme to moonlight as a luchador in order to win the money to help the kids. That's it. That's the plot. That's Nacho Libre. So for those that don't remember what 9/11 is, Jack Black's career can be summarized like this. He was the fat guy who smokes a lot of weed and loves heavy metal. No, not that one. Not that one either. His films include Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny, Tenacious D in the Shallow Hal of Destiny, Tenacious D in the Kung Fu Panda of Destiny. He even appeared in video games, such as Tenacious D in the Brutal Legend of Destiny. He is absolutely a mid-90s to 2000s comedian. A lot of energy, vulgarity, and being charmingly stupid. That's not to say he's aged horribly or wasn't funny. I mean, a lot of it, yeah, he aged horribly and is not funny. But he did have sort of a charisma to him in his heyday, mainly due to his propensity to jump headfirst into roles and do whatever it takes to get a laugh. His role in Tropic Thunder was actually pretty clever, him playing a drug-addicted, burnt-out comedian stuck to the funny fat guy archetype until the day he dies. Oh, he wasn't acting. Though of course not everything he touches has exactly been comedy gold, and even at his best he was absolutely a comedian that was an acquired taste. The thing is, the worst part is that the movies aren't even worst of all time material where they could be some ironic pleasure to how badly they failed. No, it's just boring. Nacho Libre is a generic family movie that was made because around this time Jack Black had a wife and kids, so he pulled the classic grandpa effect that affected a lot of Hollywood types. They start off super vulgar, edgy, violent, get a family, and then rapidly start to tone themselves down and do a lot more kid movies so their children can watch them. There's nothing wrong with this. I mean, it's really hard to be angry at somebody for wanting their children to watch their movies. The problem is that, well, kid movies are boring. Granted, they literally are not for me. The demographic is small children, and sometimes they can make a suitably charming family movie that's decent fun. School of Rock is okay, even if half the child cast were molested by Dan Schneider, but Nacho Libre is just sort of It has goofy slapstick jokes, it has the classic 3-act structure. You know, you have the setup, the second thoughts, the lowest point, the climax, the big happy ending. It's formulaic to say the least. Not that a movie for children needs to be the next subversive masterpiece, but if you guys are expecting this to be the next Cool Cat Saves the Kids or some other post-ironic affair where content making fun of the movie can be its own genre, no. Really, the entire reason this video is being made is because it's basically an in-joke from the Discord server, and money was involved. It's hard not to be honest about that considering the movie itself is pretty hollow. Yes, this video was created through bribery. I like money, which is what this entire movie feels like. It's a complete cash grab. You get a popular comedian to do a movie with a weird concept aimed at children. Parents take them to the theater, get them to shut up for an hour and a half, and everyone goes home barely even remembering what they did today. It's a forgettable kids movie, which is weird considering the movie is directed by Jared Hess, whose entire career is based around making very eccentric, charming films about very weird and unconventional people. Not exactly the American Wes Anderson, but the dude definitely wasn't afraid of making quirky indie movies. Stuff like Napoleon Dynamite and Gentleman Broncos were kind of his claim to fame. He clearly knows what he's doing, and I think it's 100% being shackled behind making a movie for children. That's not to say Napoleon Dynamite or Gentleman Broncos are really offensive and adult movies. They're pretty safe humor-wise. In fact, your dad is more likely to quote Napoleon Dynamite than you are. It's just being shackled to such a simple and family-oriented story sort of feels like it's suffocating the idea. Of course, it also doesn't help that Jared Hess was sort of a lightning-in-a-bottle director. He made the one universally acclaimed movie with Napoleon Dynamite, and everything else is either mixed or outright hated. Of course, this is all I can talk about in regards to Nacho Libre. Thing is horribly forgettable, unless you just really love bad comedies. I mean, a few jokes land, but the rest are just white noise.
Surprise. Get that cone out of my face! Fuck you!
this doesn't really have much for you. The story is very simple. It's aimed at children. You have, in the beginning, there's a problem. Protagonist takes it upon himself to solve some problem. Some of the people he's with don't like that, and he tries to hide it from them. He gets found out. There's a big grand event he has to go to try to win as much money as possible. Something happens, and it looks like he can't do it, and those people that doubted him were right. Then at the last second, he's able to do it, wins the money, and it's all a big happy fucking ending. That's it. That's literally it. It is every 90s comedy ever, except it was in 2006. You see a pudgy Jack Black try to wrestle people in Mexico. He talks with a bad accent. There you go. That's fucking Nacho Libre. And really, I don't want to stretch this much further considering this is a Paramount movie, and I am not getting a fucking copyright strike over Nacho goddamn Libre. This movie is something barely anybody even remembers. Hell, it took me hours finding a torrent that wasn't loaded up with malware or casino ads. I barely even remember this movie, and I watched it again for this review. So Merry fucking Christmas. And I'm not even gonna try to attempt performative anger because what's the point of freaking out at a Jack Black movie aimed at children? I mean, really, what's the point? I really do feel like a lot of the time when people request stuff that they see as like a worst of all time or ironic masterpiece, it's really just mediocre. It's not as bad as they want, it's just nah, it's barely reactive to them, and they find that more insulting than something that's just outright stupid, because at least if it's stupid, you have fun making fun of it. You have fun pointing out that's not how something works, or that wouldn't happen in real life. You can have some ironic enjoyment from it. Something that's mediocre comes across far worse, because really, you feel like you wasted your time, and that's what Jack Black feels like sometimes, a waste of your life, because really, if you just want to, put your kid in front of the TV and just shut him up for a little bit, this is not a bad movie to do it with. It's just also understand this is not going to teach him a life lesson. This is not going to be his favorite movie ever. So, fuck it. That's all I can say about Nacho Libre. Until next time, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys. Wait a minute. Jack Black's Jewish? Oh god, no. Oh, please, Mark. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Hey, loser. Do you want a shirt? Do you want a t-shirt? I have shirts now. Look in the description for a link to a t-shirt you can buy. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll kill your family. If you don't buy the t-shirt, I'll poison your dog. If you don't buy the t-shirt, you're going to be the only person in town that does not have a t-shirt. Everyone's going to look at you funny. There's going to be social consequences to not having one of these t-shirts. I'm now making express threats of violence against you if you do not buy my t-shirt. I will call the police, tell them how they're not, you're not buying my shirt. They're going to plant crack in your house, and they're going to arrest you and then beat you up in a jail cell. Buy my shirt.